didn't mean to say gravity either.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey, boo boo.
A picnic basket.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jon.
I'm Brittney.
And this is
Random Rewind. Yes, thank you.
Welcome back to
There
the
you
show. We don't have a special guest today.
We are special.
We are special enough to not have a guest today. But that being said, we are going to go over a movie our last guest kind of, we kind of spoke about.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
We touched on it.
I haven't seen it, but I have now since seen it.
Yes.
So I'm allowed to be in this conversation because I have watched it.
This is true. Yeah. You're just not just a bystander.
Well, because last time we had a special guest, Garrett Wong, who was on Star Trek, and we were talking about this movie that spoofs Star Trek.
Kind of.
Like,
yeah. I think it enhances Star Trek.
You think it enhances it?
I'll tell you why later.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So this movie that we're talking about, if you haven't already figured it out, because there's
From the title.
I know. The title of this video that says, today we're talking about Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, we are. The 1999 release of Galaxy Quest, which is not like the best movie in the world.
You know what? There's so many movies that came out in 1999.
Oh my God. I mean, the best movie that came out in 1999, hands down, period, in my opinion, is still The Matrix. But this movie was still up there as far as the fan following that it has, as well as just the story that it tells, and it technically being, well, in my opinion, another Star Trek film.
Well, it became a cult classic.
It did become a cult classic, and Star Trek fans as a whole voted this to be the last of the Star Trek films' best Star Trek films.
Okay, so it counts as a Star Trek film. And the director of the film actually said, I want to direct an episode of Star Trek. Or I want this to almost feel like I'm creating an episode of Star Trek. So, and the characters are based off of, characters from Star Trek and the fandom. But what they didn't do is kind of do the, it's a whole new world now.
For sure.
When it comes to fandom.
Right.
But back in the day, you go to Comic-Con and everyone's in cosplay and it's like, yeah, this is regular life.
Right.
But when this came out, you have Justin Long, who this was his first movie, and he did fantastic.
He almost didn't get it.
He was
really
so
close.
good.
He was really good. He played the role really, really well. And I'll give you my opinion about Justin Long in this entire film towards the end of this. But yeah, he played a very, very good role.
And he's dressed in the very, very beginning of the film. It's like a convention, and so he is dressed to the nines, and he's the stereotypical fan, comic book guy from The Simpsons. Where he's thinking like, oh, well, how about...
I guess if you don't have reference, yeah, that'd be a good one.
In episode 34, when you're, the flux capacitor, and he's talking, and then, to Tim Allen, who plays the, commander? Is that what it's called? He's the commander.
Yeah.
And, but they went with it, right? They didn't knock the fandom for this movie. They promoted the fandom more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yes, so that's probably what this movie focuses mostly on. I'm going to say mostly, but it has a huge focus on what the fans are to these sci-fi films, and it kind of makes the fans the heroes in a sense. And that's kind of where we get to towards the end of this. Is it really focuses on to what these shows have to look forward to after the shows are over, right? The conventions,
yes,
the fans,
what comes next,
the questions and everything else. Now, unfortunately, this movie is basically based off of a cast of characters from a TV series that was from the 80s.
I think when it originally came, because 20 years. So if it would have came out, if they were in the year 1999, then it would have been 20 years before that. So it would have been in the 70s.
So an old TV series, like say they're like original Star Trek series.
But it's cool how the movie touched it because they show the afterward, right? Like you have Alan Rickman, who held me into this movie. If Alan Rickman wasn't there, I don't know if I would be able to hold on, because he really, really pulled it in for me.
Alan Rickman was like, I don't know. He's such a good actor, or was such a good actor. I mean, still is, because his legacy lives on in film.
Yes.
But I mean, I loved Tim Allen in this, but I loved Alan Rickman more so in this.
I did too.
And my favorite actor in all of this is honestly Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. And the only reason she ever even did this was when she talked to what was the director's name? Oh shoot, Dean Pariseau, right? When she talked to him, when he cast her second after Tim Allen, she said, "I will do it, but only if I can have blonde hair and I can have big boobs."
She loved that wig. Sigourney Weaver wore that wig.
Yeah, she said, "I had so much fun as a blonde."
She loved it. Yeah. She wore it outside of set because she loved it so much.
You know how old she was in that film?
How old?
50.
Shut up.
She looks freaking fabulous at 50.
She was 50 years old in that?
She is 74 years old right now, dude.
What?
And she still looks amazing.
What?
Right.
Wait a second.
Yeah, she was 50 years old. I wish I could look that freaking good.
I don't want to skip to the end, but at the end, her zipper is unzipped. And
yeah. I mean, of course.
Holy moly, she's 50 years old.
50 years old. Yeah, they gave her big boobs.
What?
And
Des, did you know that?
Hair.
No, I didn't know that one.
50 years old.
50 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, I hope I look like that when I'm 50. Fantastic. She looked fantastic.
She looks freaking amazing. And from what I've read, she's had very little to no work done.
So she's just natural.
She's just naturally freaking gorgeous.
Sometimes, oh my God. So Sigourney Weaver is 50 years old when she looks fantastic.
Oh yeah. No.
And amazing. let's go through the cast because there is a full cast here. We have Tim Allen as the commander. We have Alan Rickman as, what was his character's name?
Alexander Dane.
And he's the great actor. He's a professional actor.
Originally in the script, he was supposed to be knighted. Like, it was supposed to be Sir Alan Dane. But he said, that's no way. That doesn't fit the role very well. So he had them remove that from the script.
Oh, from him being knighted?
But in the credits, it shows Sir Alan Dane.
They left it a little bit. They're like, okay, you're knighted.
Alexander Dane, yeah.
Well, it's funny because the whole concept of this movie, even when it first came out, before it was Galaxy Quest, I think it was called like, what, Star Command or Starship, or I don't know. Something, it was just in the original script. And in that script, the character that Alan Rickman plays is the bad guy. So he was the one who and the writer of the script was saying that he was kind of parodying the Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek, and that other guy who's the main guy, who is his name? William Shatner. Yeah. And it was more towards like, hey, this actor who he's upset kind of being typecast and he didn't want this to be forever, kind of how Alan Rickman's character is in the movie, but they didn't turn him. They did change the script and he's no longer the bad guy and he becomes part of, the crew and they all whatever. But the first original script, he was supposed to be the protagonist. Oh. I think that would have been cool.
That would have been interesting.
I think that would have been fun
as long as he wasn't under a costume, because the costume that he wore was so minuscule. It's supposed to be like the Klingon of the Star Trek world, right?
His head
his prosthetic that he had on his head
the whole time.
And then towards the end, anyway, it starts to peel.
He wore it the entire movie, though. Oh, I know. It's impressive.
Yeah, I know.
He is a true actor.
He's such a good actor.
And he's playing a good actor, so it really works out.
Tony Shalhoub. Who's, oh shoot, what nationality is he? I want to say he's not Israeli.
He's not he's not Asian.
He's Middle. I think he's Middle Eastern of some type, and I can't remember quite honestly what it is. But his name is Fred Kwon. Fred Kwon, and he plays the character role that he plays on the starship is also an Asian name.
I know, but
I forget what it is. But it's like so bizarre that they did that.
I was thinking about that. I was like,
why did they
just cast one? Because it would have made sense. There's always been Asian representation in Star Trek, so it was funny that they decided to go in a different direction on this one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why not just it? I don't know. It was I wasn't there, so I don't know how casting went. I know that it was hard. I know that for Commander, before it was Tim Allen, they wanted Robin Williams. They wanted Steve Martin.
Oh, can you imagine a Robin Williams in that role?
They wanted
so good.
Bill Murray.
Sorry, not to knock Tim Allen, but I'm not a huge fan of Tim Allen.
Me either. So I'm like,
Robin Williams would have been,
or Bill Murray.
Bill Murray would have been, well, I don't know. It might.
No, because Bill Murray, like when he plays a bad guy, it's really good though. Like, remember,
but he'd be playing a good guy.
But he's kind of the villain in the beginning.
I see. He's
right?
Yeah.
He's so lovable that even when he's the villain, you still love him. So the commander is kind of the villain in the beginning to all the other cast members.
He's just a dick.
He's kind of the douche. So Could you imagine like a world where they all turned it down?
I could imagine that. Yes, I could.
They all turned it down. They said, no, thank you. And I guess Tim Allen is a huge sci-fi fan.
So Tim Allen interviewed a couple years ago with his daughter on, I can't remember what freaking morning show it was, but this was during like just the end of COVID. So everything was online, right? And he talked about how they've been talking about doing a part 2 of this movie, but it still hasn't been greenlit. That being said, Paramount decided to take it upon themselves to do a TV series that they greenlit last year, but there is no estimated release date of a Galaxy Quest TV series.
That's interesting because I heard that they were going to make it for Amazon Prime, and then Alan Rickman passed away, and then it kind of fell short.
That's when it fell apart, and then no one wants to touch it.
And they were like, no, but I get it. Because, I understand. I mean,
Alan Rickman was a huge role in the part, so how do you rewrite an Alan Rickman role?
And then also, like, is Sigourney Weaver going to do it? You said she's what, 70?
74,
like,
she still acts, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Is that what she wants to go back into?
I don't know. I don't know if she would come back.
If she would come back for like a Galaxy Quest. I know Tim Allen would because he loves sci-fi. He's a sci-fi fan. So he actually really wanted this.
I think Sam Rockwell said back in the late 90s and 99 that he said he would do it again too.
He would go again.
Yeah, but you're talking about 20 some years ago.
It's like 20 years ago,
20 some years ago when the film came out. He said he would do a second part. Who knows if he would do it now?
Well, it's interesting because the first director of the film was the guy from Ghostbusters. I don't know his name, but he was on to direct, and then
which Ghostbusters?
The one that's not like the super famous one. Like the whoever the Ghostbusters characters, not the one that I could name off the top of my head.
Huh.
And he was the original director, and he did not agree with the Tim Allen casting as Commander, and he actually stepped down from the film.
Who did he want?
I think he wanted to go. He wanted Robin Williams.
He wanted somebody
because
more
he directed a movie with Robin Williams, and he said I didn't show him to his full comedic ability, so I think he wanted to try again. He said no, and then he just could not get behind Tim Allen. But when the movie came out, he said, "I take back everything I said." So he was actually impressed with him by the end of it. But at first he didn't believe in him. He's like, no, this isn't the Commander. This can't be the dude. But Tim Allen pulled through and he did it.
Huh.
And I also heard that Alan Rickman and Tim Allen had like kind of beef behind the scenes because Tim Allen was taking his Commander character so like seriously, but then also like joking around all the time.
So was he like full on like character acting offset?
I think so.
Or, I mean, off scene?
I think so. And then Alan was like, whoa, dude, like, you mess around way too much. Like, I can't do this. And then it's funny because, and then, what more filming goes on, there's kind of a appreciation for each other. And I feel like that's the same character arc that happened in the movie.
Literally.
It's the same thing, but life reflects art. And it, like, happened within this movie. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was kind of cool.
So you managed to get your shirt off, then they shake hands. When he almost gets freaking smashed by the rock monster.
Oh, the rock monster. That was so funny. Okay, besides the actors, the basis of this movie is pretty far-fetched.
I mean, it's like one
just
of those.
A little.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit. Yeah. I mean, so it goes into these guys, the cast of this old TV show is at this convention, and these people, assumably people that are just other people that are at a convention that happen to be in costume, are asking Tim Allen or Jason Nesmith to join them on this mission to save blah, 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 right? And he doesn't think anything of it because he thinks it's part of this thing that he was cast for to help out for a birthday party or a party of some sort or whatever he gets hired on.
Yeah, he didn't know that they were really aliens.
Yeah, exactly. No freaking clue. And then they take him in the limo to this whatever location. He passes out drunk, and
see, that's a good question because me and Des, we watched this together when we were talking about this because it's like they go to his house and they take him, and then he's just hungover. But then he's just in space, and there was no explanation of like how he got to the ship because when he's first on that ship, but But how come
Yeah,
every
they
other
went from
time
the limo and then they're in space.
just in
they
space?
So
they
you kind of
beamed
had
it.
to put that together
Yeah,
yourself.
So was he
you had no idea until later on until you realized that they could beam people. But
you would be traumatized after being in that goop or whatever, however they transport you to space.
That's my theory, is that he didn't just have like a Coke. I think he might have had some more alcohol and he was
like passed out.
drunk.
It has to be that.
That'd be the only scenario, because even if you're hungover and that traumatic experience, because you saw his reaction when he landed, he was holy
that's what
crap,
I'm saying. But then to get up there
happened?
was not. He was so
Right.
nonchalant, like, "Oh, this is a cool set," or blah blah blah. You guys doing your thing. No idea he was really in space.
Right.
But how did he not know? Because it's hard to get to space. So they knocked him out.
Unless
did they drug him?
The only other explanation would be because they weren't on the ship; they were on that platform for the ship.
But they were in space.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like, so the ship had the capability of teleporting people from close range. Right? Just doing a standard teleport, not this goop transport thing where they would just transport molecules through the air like any transporter you've seen in any other sci-fi film.
Where you get put into a million pieces and then put back together.
Correct,
And sometimes
yes.
inside out.
Sometimes inside out, yes.
It's not worth the risk.
I don't
think
Spaceballs.
so.
This is what my ass looks like? Why did anybody tell me my ass looks so big? Then he scratches his butt and he moves on.
And honestly, it's funny you bring up Spaceballs because I feel like this is kind of in the same realm, but not went. I feel like this one with Galaxy Quest, they tried to take it a little bit more seriously, and Spaceballs was a full-on spoof parody.
Oh, it was
satire.
a parody.
You know what I mean?
It was intended to be a compliment to Star Wars, where this is supposed to be almost its own film
entity based on
that just happens to point out the likeness of Star Trek.
Yeah. But there's a lot of the same similarities.
It is wholeheartedly Star Trek.
That's what it is.
From the uniforms to the spaceship. Did you even see the serial number on the spaceship?
Or the what is it, the NTE or not?
The
what does it stand for? Or not Enterprise?
It's NS. It's an NTE, and then 1324 is not the Enterprise.
Got it. So it's not the Enterprise. Well, they didn't want to get sued by Paramount. They were like, we can't do this.
I mean, if you look at it compared to any one of the Starship Enterprises, the likeness is not exact, but you can tell that there's a resemblance to it.
Yeah.
From the saucer.
But I think it looks good.
It's a good looking ship. It's not a stupid looking ship.
No, they did a great job because we were talking about the special effects. The fact that this was from 1999, and they did a really good job. Those little baby alien things that they think are all cute,
freaking creepy,
and then they come out.
They all had. They had butt cheeks.
Did they? I was not looking at their butts.
Like, what the heck?
Did they have?
Because the one fell over that was
eating. You didn't notice?
I did not notice
the one that fell over drinking from the water because its leg was broken. It had full on butt cheeks, and then they dive on it. I'm like, oh,
I know. She's like, look, they're gonna help him. Like, no, they're not.
No,
they're not.
Have you not seen the show?
Always killed the weak.
That was the best part. Okay, so I'm gonna interject right here.
Yeah.
Because my favorite character of the whole movie
was Guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
He was great.
He had me from the very beginning when he's like, hey, I was in episode 81. Can I scoot in over here and sign a few autographs?
And he sat down.
So in Star Trek, they have what's called the red shirts. That's why I said we should put you in a red shirt last time.
Oh, because you were talking shit?
Yeah. The red shirts are the ones that are dispensable.
One went over both our heads,
they only have single names, like he
just
did, like
Guy.
Just Guy did.
He didn't have a last name.
He didn't have a last name on the show, and they're the most likely to
die first. He knew that. Sam Rockwell was very well aware that his character Guy was going to be the first to die.
I'm not getting off this ship. I don't have a last name. I'm going to die in the first 5 minutes.
Smart.
Settle down, Guy. You have a last name.
What is it?
He got one at the end.
Yeah, he got one at the end.
He survived. He didn't die. He what is that? He went against the odds, right?
Yeah.
Because it's always that side character that dies, never the main cast.
It was pretty, yeah, exactly.
It's never that.
It's never the main cast. You're like, oh, the main character died. I guess the show's over.
Okay, so
but then you sit through the whole movie wondering, is Guy gonna die?
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, are they gonna do it?
At some point, they're like, you're thinking, okay, when is he gonna perish? Because he is the red shirt.
And it's gonna happen eventually because and they kept bringing it up. You're like, oh, it's gonna happen. Like it's going down. So we jumped ahead a little bit, like we always do.
That's weird.
So Tim Allen goes to space, and these aliens, they watch Galaxy Quest, the show, as if it's historical documents that it's true, and they built their entire civilization around this show. So
Yes.
that's all they want. Why?
I don't know,
Something's
your-
off. I know.
Your microphone sounds weird.
Sigourney Weaver. I just
Sigourney.
love that name, Sigourney. Who the fuck came up with that? Sigourney?
No, man.
What is that? It's so cool. Sigourney.
And then
Do you think she got made fun of in school? Sigourney, raise your hand.
I mean, what was her nickname?
Seg?
Sig?
Maybe.
Siggy? I don't know.
Sigourney? Weaver. I'd be like, hey, Weaver.
I know. I would just call her by her last name.
Would you do a Weaver?
Sigourney.
Or even like if you're the substitute teacher and she's in your class and you don't know how to say Sigourney, like you're like what? It's an interesting name.
Sojourney?
Sojourney?
Because it looks like Journey.
I don't know. It's just it's a fun name. Fun to say. Sigourney.
Her name is actually Susan Alexandra.
What? Sigourney is
so that's a stage name.
That's her stage. Who came up with Sigourney?
Right.
That's so interesting. So
Yeah.
someone's very creative, and it worked. Because look at me, I
suppose so.
will never forget that name.
She's just. I mean, I think we've said the name 40 times.
Saying
in this episode.
Susan is like.
What a boring. I mean, I'm sorry for all the Susans out there. It's a pretty mundane, kind of like John. It's a.
I was gonna say like we had the most basic names in history.
It's a pretty mundane name. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you just have a basic name, and Jon and Brittney are two very basic names. So.
We're a little bit more than basic, but the names are pretty basic.
Sigourney. It's just fun to say. Okay, so they are these aliens. They think that Galaxy Quest is real, and they want the commander, Tim Allen, to come up and save them from what was his name? Starts with an S. The big green Saris, the big green scary guy.
Yeah, played by Robin Sachs.
And what is it like?
Sachs?
30 pounds of makeup, I guess. Like an insane amount of makeup this dude had to go through.
So I'm all for like alien costumes. I think they overdid this one on purpose. You think it was too much? No, I think they did that on purpose.
For satire to kind of go all the way in.
Yeah, exactly. Because they made it just as alien-esque as humanly possible. Because if you look at aliens even in the Star Wars universe, some of them look very alien-esque, obviously, but they're clearly not humanoid. They made this insect-looking creature very much so a freaking humanoid, but it looks so off the wall with the things off his head, and I don't know, it just looked wonky.
And then
in my opinion.
And so he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And they're trying to save from him, and he's very smart because he when they show him the historical documents, that dude figured out right away that it was a TV show, and that's when Tim Allen had to come clean to the main alien guy saying like, I'm an actor, by the way. But I'm like, okay, how did you, alien dude, figure that out? Like,
well, because the alien race that was getting wiped.
They did get wiped. Dude, okay, this is what I also did not like. What? When they win at some point, I think it's before, I just thought of something else that is an issue with me. But they're like, yeah, we did it. I don't know. There's some sort of celebration like midway through. And he's like, you guys can go home. He's like, oh, we have no home to go back to. Oh, so at that point, it was already destroyed. So now you're saying the only people in your race that are left are the ones that are in the ship?
The ship and on that base.
So your whole family is dead. Like
that base too. So that's it.
It's not a win. Like they kind of lost, I guess. Like they didn't lose everybody.
I mean, they saved some of their civilization.
Some of them, but
I mean, how many were on that main ship that they took off from?
And then remember their home planet was just a piece of a planet. It was like
I don't remember. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, so it's just like it almost looks like it got blown up, and then they just took whatever they had and kind of built into it.
Yeah.
But then they were like, oh well, we don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
Like that's the end. I'm like, that's kind of like messed up. I'm like, now I feel bad. Like I don't even want to watch the rest because anyway, can you think of the other problem I have? Do you think you could guess my one other plot issue?
Who does it deal with?
It's at the end.
When
I guess it has to do with what what's his name? Saris. What is Saris after? Or what does he want to know about?
The thing.
The thing. Whatever is it? Like, whatever 13.
The Omega-13.
Thank you. The Omega-13. Yeah. That, when we find out what the Omega-13 does, is it literally goes back 13 seconds in time?
Yeah.
What? Like, was that from the original Galaxy Quest show? Is that why they built it in the first place? But like,
well, no one knew what it was from the show. That's what I'm saying. They were just assuming what it did.
So then you find out what it does, and then it's like, it goes exactly 13 seconds back in the past, and you're like, I wonder. That's kind of the plot hole of like, I wonder what's going to happen at the end. I kind of have a feeling everyone's going to die, and then somehow they're going to go back 13 seconds
and save everybody.
Yeah. Like, you could figure it out, but like, how random.
Superman spinning backwards from the earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, it's just so random to me. Like, oh, well, we built this thing that does exactly 13 seconds back in time. Like,
I know, it's a super underwhelming underwhelming device.
I was like, okay. And then also in the very beginning with Justin Long, I'm like, I guarantee you he's gonna save the day.
That's the
and
part,
I was right.
That's the part that I think is overseen by a lot of people, and I didn't catch this when I first watched the movie, quite honestly, is how important the fans are.
Oh, you can't have it without the fans. The fans are everything.
But the fans almost always know more than the actors.
Always.
Almost always. Not always.
No,
but
yeah, but pretty
always.
much they know.
They know a lot more because they've gone into the lore of every single item.
Because they care
every
so
single
much.
Ship, every single planet. Characters' mothers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they know it all.
They know everything about everything, especially the super fans. I'm not talking about just the ones that love Star Wars, like I love Star Wars. But the guys that are beyond me that could tell you about everything about a freaking lightsaber that I don't give a crap about. But
yeah, but they know
know about it, and they give a crap about it.
Exactly, so they'll break it down.
So did you see I registered the domain name?
No, you didn't say nothing about that.
I put it on Discord. Did you see it, Des?
I didn't. I've been out of town the last 2 days.
This was like right after the show.
Oh,
the
really?
last show. I registered the domain name.
For Dragons with Crabs.
And I have a logo.
So you put a logo on it?
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's not on there. It's just I just registered the domain. The website's not built. But we do have a domain, and it will be our homepage, because Random Rewind is not available. Unless we were like randomrewind.fm or something stupid, which I mean we'll probably register that too. But
what's FM?
So now we need to make merch.
Anything. Yes, now we need to make merch. So our apparel line eventually will be Dragons with Crabs.
I love being a dragon with crabs. This sounds so funny. It's awesome because we're both dragons and we're both Cancers.
That's right. So it's Dragons with Crabs.
It's amazing. Yeah. And that's funny too, because in what's it called? In Chinese zodiac, there's like gaps between it. They go in like 12 or 11 year increments.
12 years. Yeah.
12-year increments. So that means we're exactly 12 years apart because we're both a dragon.
Yeah. We're
right.
12 years
so
apart.
we went from 12. We're 12 years apart to be almost not to the day, but close by.
Like within weeks, right?
Yeah.
That's
Within like 2 weeks, I think 3 weeks. But so now we're dragonswithcrabs.com, or are we an org?
No, it's .com.
We're a com.
.com. Yeah, dragonswithcrabs.com.
Dragonswithcrabs.com.
It's registered, but it will be up and as a website in the very near future.
Woo, yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, we'll put our blog and stuff on there.
I have a lot of ideas.
Oh, good. Yeah, we could definitely use ideas, Des.
We love ideas.
My mind is spinning now.
Oh,
I'm
good.
Thinking of all sorts of fun things we could make.
That's awesome. Yeah, and all you guys out there, the 12 of you that are watching, if you could throw any ideas in the comment section below that you would like to see on the website, we'll obviously post stuff on there like our upcoming Patreon and things like that. We might get maybe 1 or 2 whole entire people that register for that.
I'm so stoked. My best friends, like, I'm so down for it. I love all 12 of you. Like,
I do. I love all 12 of you.
It's worth it. It's worth it for that.
Like,
it's worth it for that.
100%.
Do you guys like Galaxy Quest? Tell me your favorite part of the movie.
So speaking of, did you like Galaxy Quest? You're not a sci-fi fan. So this girl is, you guys have known since we started this freaking podcast, she is not a sci-fi girl. But I've made her watch more sci-fi than she's probably ever watched in her freaking life.
It's true. This last year has been more sci-fi than I've ever experienced before. Did I love it? No. I don't know. I think.
Did you find it entertaining?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was entertaining. Like I said, Alan Rickman kept me in.
Okay, that's good.
I was out. I don't know what it was. I don't have a problem with Tim Allen. I think what happens, and this happens a lot, especially with like cancel culture and stuff, is when people come out with stories that say like, oh, he was this or he was that, and then you kind of get that into your head, and then you kind of you're thinking about it like, oh, was he a jerk on this set, or did this happen, or more personal things that honestly shouldn't matter because it obviously doesn't contribute to the character he's playing. But then I'm like, is he a real jerk in real life? I don't know.
I don't know. From all the stories I've heard, he is.
That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to turn that off.
Yeah, I haven't been a fan of his since like the second Santa Claus.
Yeah,
the very first one I was okay with him.
Were you a Buzz Lightyear fan?
Yeah, I was because of the voice, not because of the voice, but
because he was the space guy.
I mean, not necessarily. I like Buzz Lightyear because of the character, not necessarily that was him voicing
because
it.
Of it's
like literally anybody could have voiced that character, and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah,
I just like Buzz Lightyear.
It's funny too because I love. You mentioned Santa Claus. I love those, and I love the new series that he did. That is in the universe.
Yeah, I really only like the very first one. The rest of them were okay. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate them.
Yeah,
but. It slowly turned into okay. He's doing a bunch of kids shows now, and that's the end of his career, and that sucks because now I no longer want to watch him because it's boring.
Sorry, you're boring.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like every actor kind of has to deal with the rise and fall of careers. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And the older we get, the older they get, and
that's true.
You know, people fall off and they don't do the craft anymore, and you kind of just be okay with your legacy.
Sure,
but if you're a jerk, like. I don't know. I just feel like there's this whole, and I feel like 2024 is like the year of like we're canceling celebrities. Like nobody is safe. Like,
well, I mean, if you were a piece of shit, sorry, excuse the language, back in the day, you're still gonna technically probably still be a piece of shit unless you've made efforts to change. But
we kind of covered that in the last episode, talking about like changing and realizing faults and blah blah blah. So who knows? Maybe. But this is important because. Like I said, that recent Santa Claus thing, but then guess what? An article came out with the girl an actress who was acting with him who still said he was a jerk. Like, and that was filmed like last year. Right. So I don't think he has changed or I don't know. There's something, and you know what? There's something about actors or A-listers or whoever it is that treat service people with disrespect. And I will never get over that. I just can't get over it. Like
service people or people helping you out on, because like you're gonna look at a movie set, right? And a film can't be made with a handful of people. You need hundreds of people to make a film. Even if you're doing something like very low budget, you still need dozens of people.
There's so many hands and that need
to treat anybody on that set that is helping in either costume or set deck or lighting or just a grip or anything along those lines less than to me is I'm checked out. I'm done.
No, that exactly.
You're not a cool person.
Exactly. And I trust the people that don't have fame because what do they have to lose if they tell they're telling their truth? I believe it. You know what I mean? I
believe it to some degree. There are a lot of people out there that are attention whores too.
Oh, that they kind of wanted for attention.
They just said, okay, now I can make a big name for myself if I talk crap about XYZ. So I always take what I hear online with a grain of salt until I hear a little bit more, because sometimes you never know if it's just somebody seeking attention. And that's not always the case, obviously, when it comes to certain things like accusations of grape or anything along those lines.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different territory.
I wholeheartedly take the woman's word for it. I don't believe that anybody would. I want to believe that I don't think anybody would fib about something like that.
No, I also will. I don't want to think that either. So you don't joke about it. But then when it's, I get it. If a grip's like, oh, he threw coffee in my face and he really didn't, then yeah, that would slander a name when it didn't happen.
When it didn't happen, that's a different story.
But if it did happen, screw that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then there's again, a movie set is so big and so many people on set. Somebody else can corroborate that.
Oh, like there would be a witness?
There always.
Can I get a witness?
Yeah. So basically you're saying because of all these stories you heard about Tim Allen, it kind of tainted your view on the movie just a little bit?
A little bit. So this is my first time watching it.
At least me, because I've never seen it.
Right.
So I didn't have any nostalgia coming into it.
So I watched it again just literally yesterday.
Okay.
In the background while I was making decals. And it bored me.
You were bored. Okay, good. 'Cause I'm not crazy.
To a certain degree. There are a lot of entertaining points to it and some funny bits and some quippy lines that I think are great. And I'm like, oh, I didn't remember that type moments. But in all honesty, would I watch it again? No.
So is this one of those movies where you kind of like, you looked before you rewatched it for this? Because I remember you and Garrett talking like it up or saying how cool it was last episode.
It was a very cool film.
And you were all about it back in the day.
I don't think it lives the same in
it didn't age well, or it just
it's
shifted. In that, I honestly was kind of thinking that too, because I was like, I get why it's a cult classic. I understand why it would be.
It fits that genre very, very
well.
well.
But I was also confused on like why it was so at least you guys were hyping it up a lot, and then I kind of left it like, did I miss something, or was it?
No.
But you saying that now, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy.
You're not
like,
crazy.
It's not. It's fun. It's a great time, but it's not.
It's a fun film. It's if you've never watched it.
It's no Spaceballs.
I would. It's no Spaceballs. Yeah,
I think that's the next movie we should do. If
we
you
already
guys
did
haven't
that, you
goof.
It's like our
I
third
came in
episode.
so late.
Yeah.
It's a good episode. Watch it. It's like our third one.
I
it's
love
our
that
third
one.
episode. It was really good. Actually, we talked a lot about a lot of fun times in that film. But anyway, so as far as this movie goes, if you've never seen it and you've never seen Spaceballs, go watch Spaceballs. If you've never seen it and you have seen Spaceballs, it's worth a watch. Are you going to expect what everybody else is hyping it up to be? Maybe if you're like a Star Trek super fan, you might really appreciate a lot of this film. If you're not a Star Trek super fan, I don't know that you would. I really don't.
I agree. Well, I think it's hard to. I think nostalgia plays a huge role in this movie. I think when it came out in 1999, it was different. It came out on Christmas too, right before everyone, before the whole world was going to end at Y2K.
We should just call this Films of '99.
Films of '99. But this one's not a top tier. I mean, there was a lot of competition that year. I mean, you're going up against The Matrix, like. And I guess what happened with why they weren't as good their opening weekend as they were their second weekend is marketing. They really were trying to push it to be a kid's film or a family film. So all the cursing they took out. I guess Sigourney Weaver had like a sex scene with the alien, which I want to see.
There's actually a bit where she says F that. And they changed it to screw that. But you can see her lips say F that. Yeah,
because they wanted to change it to be more like family friendly.
They're trying to get a PG rating.
Exactly.
So they nailed a PG rating. And PG rating back then was different than a PG rating is today.
I know. I feel like you could say that now and nobody would care. Yeah. You're like, yeah, that's PG.
Yeah.
You said the F word once? Nah. You have to say it 4 times to get a 13.
Exactly.
So the rules have changed a little bit. But I kind of want to see it in that real raw form for adults,
Yeah.
I think it would have been better because I think it would have had just added extra elements to it where they tried to make it so family friendly. And I understand what they were going for. I mean, they were going up against Stuart Little, and what the week before I think was Toy Story 2. Like there was a lot going on in this time frame, so they had to they didn't really market it how they did. Even the actors in the film said when you see the marketing promotions, you don't know what the film is about. So they messed up in the fact of like just promotions overall. They weren't doing a great job.
Even watching the film, a lot of it is kind of rushed in the sense that you're jumping scenes so quickly.
Yes, I agree.
And that's fine because if they drug it out any longer than it was, I think I would have been totally out.
It was already pretty long. They probably could have they should have left in the Sigourney Weaver sex scene with the alien and cut out some other stuff. I want to see what happened in that part. Because I think it's
we know where Brittany's mind is.
She's like, you know what? I'm gonna seduce the alien. Like, I don't know, a fun plot twist of like, yeah, because guess what? If I was putting myself in the situation of like, you're stuck in space, you're probably gonna die. You have to do anything you can to survive. It's like that's what she was like. Hey, let's like do that. But they cut it and there's some antics or little things happen and then. Then Tim Allen has to say to the space, that, hey, I'm not, like, we're actors, we lied to you. And then even the bad guy's like, explain it like you would explain to a child. Like, okay. It's like, I think we all figured it out.
So the parts were funny because they do hint a lot towards the Star Trek universe in it. In the very beginning when he's at the convention, mm-hmm. A lot of that is him.
Oh, in the bathroom?
No.
No, but that's real. Or I guess that happened to Shatner.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
A lot of the stuff that actually happened at that convention in that convention scene
was real.
Was like a replica of a repeat of what Shatner did or what happened to Shatner.
And I did love that. I kind of liked that bathroom scene because, and I'm not saying don't be like, he loved his role and that is fantastic. Like own it. Like you said, I'm an actor and these fans are my fans and I'm going to give them the commander they deserve.
Right.
But you did see a shift in his energy when he heard 2 people kind of talking crap about him and saying like, oh, the cast doesn't even like him. He doesn't have any friends. He's this and that. And I guess that happened to William Shatner in real life at like a Comic-Con. And he heard people like talking crap and then kind of took a step back like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
So did Tim Allen's character. He had his turnaround after he went to space.
Yeah, but I feel like his turnaround was selfish because he brought all of his castmates up there to literally die because he wanted to be the commander again. Right? When you think about it in that sense, you stole 5 people away from their lives.
No, I don't think he realized that he was making this battle request. I think he
knew what was going on. He talked to the bad guy. He said,
but
hey,
I don't think he realized that what happened to, because remember they show him what happened to the previous commander on video and him being tortured. Please kill me. Please
and then that's
kill
when
me.
he was scared.
That's when they all get up and try to leave, and they're like, "Get me the hell out of here!" Yeah. All of them try to leave at that point.
But the fact that he even brought him up in the first place, like, it's kind of messed up. If I got sucked onto a spaceship because I was an actor, I'd be like, "What the fuck? I don't want to die right now." Like, it was kind of selfish.
Yeah.
All because he wanted to relive his legacy of being the commander.
This movie, it kind of reminds me of this film that was just recent. I think it came out last year. It's called Chef. Have you seen it?
Chef? No.
Okay.
Yes, Chef.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's
bad.
It's really bad. Yeah, it's. I'll explain that premise another time. But it's somebody bringing somebody along and knowing that they were going to die, but still bringing them along.
In his defense, he didn't know they were going to die, but also, you're going to go fight an alien species with. No, you're not qualified, dude. That's an ego thing. That was his ego trying to be
sure. I think
relive commander days.
They show him obviously growing through the entire episode, little by little.
He didn't deserve Sigourney. I'm sorry. By no means did he. I don't like that they kind of threw that in there.
And quite honestly, the real hero of the entire show is Brandon.
Oh yeah, Justin Long, who played Brandon,
and all of his little friends.
Yes, all his friends.
Exactly, but he is the key. I mean, that's the reason why they keep showing him, right? Because he's asking questions about the engine room and asking questions about certain parts of the ship.
And then they bump into each other at that one scene, and that's when they
swap the
communicators.
Right.
Thank God, because Brandon saved the
Otherwise,
day.
they would have been toast.
The best part about Brandon and Justin Long's scene is when his mom makes him take out the trash, and he's right in the middle of telling them where to go on the ship.
So good.
And that's such a reflection of real life. Because you know that, like, when you're in it, but you're trying to explain to your mom, like, no, like, I gotta, and then, I mean, my kids do it to me all the time, like, just 5 more minutes, and then you're like, no, it's time for bed. So I liked that perspective of, like, the parent is a parent, and he is in that world regardless, like, she doesn't understand that he's saving the lives of, like, 6 people right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's fantastic. And again, that's the only part of the show, again, showing the importance of the fans in any industry, quite honestly, is how much they know is going to supersede most anything else. And in this case, it saved the world.
Well, without fans, there's no fandom, which means you kind of don't exist. So it's like it's one of those things you have to have both. You have to have an actor and you have to have a fan of the actor for it to
especially when it comes to like a franchise like this, like a Star Trek or a Star Wars, or in this case Galaxy Quest. You have to have that fan
it
base.
Wouldn't work without the fan base. And the fact that at the end when they use the Omega 13 and of course they go exactly 13 seconds back in time. And because they do show everybody dying, and you're like, "Is this the end?"
Kind of,
like
they're just kind of laid out and kind of sprawled out.
Well, like they've been alien shot or whatever it is,
whatever.
And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I wonder what's gonna happen now." Like,
oh no, it was so like
cheesy.
Obvious. It was so obvious a lot of the time. Like the storyline is very like riddled with holes in a lot of places, but you can tell what's going to happen next.
I predicted it right away, and I was kind of heartbroken that I was right, because I always love when I think what's going to happen and then the opposite happens and my mind's kind of blown.
Oh yeah,
that's always fun.
Like Crash or Usual Suspects.
Yes, but then when they tell you like, "Ooh, this goes back 13 seconds in time," you're like, "God, I wonder what's gonna happen." Oh, like what could save the day? It's like, no, it would have been cool if they said all that, and then some random dude came out and saved everybody else.
But I think we said this. Why they're doing all this is because this is gonna be a freaking kids show, and it shouldn't have been pushed to be a kids movie. It should have been pushed to be a fanboys film, kind of like the movie Fanboys.
Yeah. Well, where you're highlighting the fans as a whole, and because they would have died without Brandon, Justin Long's character, being the super fan who knew the ship and did the same research as the aliens did. and saved the day. So without your fandom, you're dead. It's really kind of a metaphor for like real life, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing. It's like without him, but that also shows it, you know, he could have said screw, and he almost did, because remember he called him
oh yes,
Commander called him, and then he's like, hey, I thought about what you said, because he went off on him angrily in the beginning. Tim Allen did. And then he sits there and he goes, you know, and he's like, yeah, I'm not into it or whatever. And then Tim Allen just is like, it's all real. And then you can see the instant snap in his head.
Yeah.
I knew it, blah, blah, blah. And then that got him back into that mindset. But he also ruined it the first time when he went to go meet him and, you know, treated him that way.
Yeah.
He could have been like, no, you're a jerk. I'm not going to help you. He could have.
No, you're
know
right.
what I mean?
100%.
And they would have all died, and they'd be like, where'd those actors go? Like, oh, they're gone.
So out of 5 starships, what are you rating this?
2 starships.
2 starships.
2 starships.
Des?
Yeah, I'd probably give it about 2.5.
2.5? Yeah, I was gonna go right there with you.
A 2.5 starship.
Yeah. It's an okay film.
Yeah.
Is it entertaining in its own rights? Yes, for sure. Is it worth watching? Maybe. If, like I said, if you're a Star Trek super fan, or even a Star Wars super fan, you got to be a convention goer or something along those lines. I think you would understand a lot more of it if you are. And I am a convention goer. I don't go in cosplay ever. My kids do.
I totally would. I think that'd be my favorite part. Yeah. I'm all about dressing up.
We should do that, Brittany.
I will totally dress up.
We're going in October again.
I would too.
We're going to go to the LA Comic-Con again in October. We already have tickets. So that's a good one to go to because it's not super expensive. It's pretty inexpensive.
It's cheaper. I need to work on my
costume.
And
it's better than the San Diego Comic-Con in the sense that it's not so crowded. It's crowded.
I heard San Diego is huge.
It's still busy. San Diego is big, but LA Comic-Con is also big. You're talking still 100,000 people. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. It covers the entire LA Convention Center, and it's a lot of fun to go to. Wear comfortable shoes.
Because you're walking a lot.
Oh my God, my feet were so freaking. I forgot. The last time I'd been to a convention prior to that was the ECCC in Seattle. It was Emerald City Comic Con.
Okay.
And that was probably about 6-7 years ago, and I forgot how much walking.
And you were hurting by the end of it.
Yeah, like, and I wore Chucks. I'm like,
you need that art sport. We're
never
old.
doing that again. Yeah, never doing that again. I'm like, I can wear these because I wore Chucks in the last one. You know,
because I have way before.
I have like
this year's the New Balance.
Yeah, exactly.
We're back on the New Balance.
Crying out loud! Yeah, I'm gonna be wearing my Ultras.
Hey, those are cool. Those are cool dad shoes. That's how you know it's cool, Dad. He's got his New Balances on, and he's gonna walk the whole way. I love it. I'd be down. I'm like, it's a workout and I get to look at cool stuff. Like, it's a 2-in-1.
We do spend a lot of money on stupid stuff.
Because you buy stuff, right?
Because the kids want stuff, so we buy them stuff, obviously.
Is that what it is? Is it a bunch of vendors who are selling
exactly
their own?
What it is. It's a giant swap meet of every comic book store that ever existed in the LA and some of the Western United States will fly out to some of these bigger Comic Cons.
They'll have their booths there.
Things. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have signing booths. Again, for the actors
and then
of previous shows.
How did that? Would you pay per?
It depends on the actor. Most of them do charge.
So if say I go up and I want to autograph,
some of them will charge $5. Some will charge $10. Some charge $20. Some charge.
Do they disclose that before you get in the line?
There's a sign that says $50 for a signed photo, or if you want me to sign something of yours.
So the more money I give them, the more they'll give me. Will they? If I like slip them an extra like 20, will they let me take a picture? Or?
They'll almost always let you take a photo. Yeah.
It's a whole new world to me, so I have questions.
And if you just out of good decorum, I guess, out there in the world, if you guys ever run into a star, don't ask them to sign something. Ask them to take a photo. They're like 9 times out of 10 more likely to take a photo with you than to sign something of yours, because so many people take this signed item, turn around and sell it, and it frustrates them to no end because they're just wanting the autograph, for the fandom, but just to make a profit.
Yeah. Whereas a true fan, I
just want a photo.
I would prefer a photo.
Yeah, look at me.
Because then I could show it off.
This is me and XYZ. You know what I mean? It's pretty freaking cool.
And then if I showed I'm like, oh, I got this autograph, and be like,
I think it's more meaningful too.
Oh, for sure.
Because is that you with like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, like we have one year my dad was flying back from Houston, and we met him at the airport. This is before the gates were all shut, and you can meet people at the gates.
You could go to the gate.
You can go to the gate.
Do you guys remember that?
That was freaking nuts.
That was back when Galaxy Quest came out. You could do that.
You could do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was probably in the I want to say in the late 80s.
Okay.
And this is the only memory I have of really like being at an airport when I was little. Me, my brother, and my mom. I don't think my sister was even there yet. And we're waiting for my dad to get off the plane, and off comes the entire LA Lakers.
Oh,
at
fun.
the time. So the LA Lakers walk off, and then here comes my dad.
So you're all starstruck. You're like, "Hey, Dad." Like, "Oh, you happy to see me?" Well, I was really excited to see the entire Lakers team.
I thought that was really cool. I didn't know who they were. I just remember them.
But you being so little and then seeing that entire team walk off,
really
that would have been a
cool
core memory.
Yeah.
No wonder you remember that part.
Yeah, my dad was a big Lakers fan at the time. So
was he stoked?
Yeah, he was stoked.
Oh man,
So,
he'd probably the whole time like they're right there. There they are.
Like some of them are in suits, some of them are in jerseys, some of them are in. You know what I mean? It's like super crazy.
It's funny you say that because it's the amount of people that have met celebrities on planes. I feel like is so funny. Like I remember my best friend at the time, her mom. She was like, "Yeah, I sat next to this big dude." And he wrote autographs, and he was on a show, and and this was the early 2000s, and we're like, "Are you talking about Big Black from Robin Big?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what he said." So then we all just like, and he wrote like "do work" and then signed it.
Do work. That sounds.
Remember
about
he used
right.
to say
yeah,
that? He'd be like, "Do work, son." And like signed him. And then another time Troy's dad was on a plane and Louis Vito was on it, who was a snowboarder who I used to. I really liked Louis Vito. I had such a crush on him, and he actually rode for Mountain High when I was working there. And I talked to him like via Twitter or something. I was like, "Hey, what's up? You in town? I know you're in town because you're going to be here tomorrow." And I worked nights, and I told him like, "Oh, I'm going to come see you." But I guess he went into where I was, and I wasn't there. So he was like, "Hey, he was like, walked in like, why is nobody freaking out?" Which I would have been. And then it ended up, I did end up meeting him, and everyone was so stoked because everyone knew of my crush on this boy at the time. Funny. And so we do have a picture together. See, I didn't ask him to sign anything.
Yeah, it's the photos.
I feel like that photo means more.
I think that that's the case when it comes to a lot of actors, at least from what I've heard from a lot of interviews. Just ask me to take a photo. I'll take a photo of you.
Because why not? Especially when you're out in public. Obviously, don't show it to people's houses. That's insane.
And don't bug them when they're eating freaking dinner with their family. God damn.
Does that bother you?
Dude, that bugs me.
Yeah, and like, you're not even famous.
Yeah,
you're like, this sucks.
We went to a rap party for a film, and this is, again, a rap party is a place of these people's business for the most part, right? The actor's business. And there are people that are there that are not part of the film that are just invited.
But they're excited.
They're like, "Oh my God, that's so-and-so. Let's go take a photo. Let's go get it. Oh, I'm going to get him to sign my napkin or what." I'm like, yes, go get a photo, but leave him the freak alone. He's enjoying his time too, having a drink or whatever. I'm like, just calm the freak down.
It's hard. And and me and Des kind of have experience with this because we had a job where famous people would come in.
walk in and you can't be a D-bag about it, you know?
What didn't you become like best friends with what's his name? Shazam guy. What was his name? Sinbad. There we go.
Yeah, Sinbad would hang out at the bar with me and just chill out. And I took him peanut butter and jelly once.
Yeah,
we had a whole conversation about it.
And he came back and he knew you. He was like, "Where's Des?" You become. And I remember talking to Carrot Top, and one time Johnny Depp was there. We didn't get to talk to him.
No,
our one coworker snuck in the back, but we didn't.
Yeah,
we had what was it? The Temptations?
Yeah.
I have a video of one of the Temptations singing to me a whole song that he just made up about me.
Huh.
Isn't that cool? It's fun to like.
That's pretty cool.
But it's one of those things where we have to be professional, right? I served Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank and Paul Wartburger.
Yeah.
His name's Paul Wartburger. I don't know his name. Anyway. So you like are kind of starstruck, like especially like when Johnny Depp was there. I think we all were acting kind of crazy.
He's like a freaking mega star,
like
right?
Mega, right?
To this day, he's like one of the mega. Like as if Taylor Swift walked into a bar, you wouldn't be like, that, dude, that's pretty freaking cool.
It's hard to. I'll never forget because a busboy came to my bar and he's like all nonchalant. He's like, "Hey, like Johnny Depp's in the walk-in," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever, dude." Like. Just messing around with me, and literally like 2 minutes later this fool comes out on stage and I'm like, "Oh my God." Cool. I had no idea.
That's hilarious.
He was telling the truth, but he was so nonchalant. He's like, "Yeah, it's Johnny Depp's back there." I'm like, "Okay."
Sure.
And he really was.
Sure, buddy.
And we were kind of freaking out, like even like we were taking pictures, and sometimes it's hard not to be starstruck even when you're in a professional setting. But you're right about the dinner thing. It's like No.
Dude, they're having dinner, man. Leave them
Let them eat.
Yeah,
We all
let
need
them
to eat.
Finish eat. I mean, at least let them finish eating their meal.
But it's not even weirder because you feel, when you feel like people
Someone's
are watching
you. Yeah, I mean,
and
but
so you're eating.
I think stars feel that all the time, though.
No matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know.
People are going to be looking over. There's always going to be those people that are going to look. Oh, that's
or just assume that like they're secretly taking pictures of you. Like it would kind of you get paranoid after a while, right? Like it could.
Probably not. It'd probably be like everyday life.
Or you just get used to it.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, hey, that person's taking a picture of me. Like you just nod. You're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
You a fan?
Yeah.
Because eventually it goes away. Like even these character, or even in this movie, the only person that my kids would know would be Alan Rickman because he's Snape.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think they would. I guess they would know Tim Allen because he's Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. I mean, who doesn't know who Tim Allen is? I mean, honestly. And then if you're into the Alien series, you know who Sigourney Weaver is. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So,
Which she wasn't. They didn't want any sci-fi actors to go into this movie.
that's why she said, I want to make it freaking nuts. I want the
went
blonde
all
hair
in
and
and
the
went-
big boobs. I want to make it where it's totally opposite of what Alien was.
Exactly. So she really went into that. Which
Right.
fun. Have fun with it.
For
It is
sure.
it is a satire. Go for it. Like
Oh, absolutely.
especially like she
100%.
looked fantastic. I still can't get over her age. Like
50? Yeah, that's nuts. I
50
mean,
and what?
honestly nuts.
Ah.
Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I certainly did.
A little tidbit.
Yes.
I feel like since we were talking about Comic-Con, you're going in October.
Yes.
I feel like Brittany and I should get tickets
Yes.
and we should film us going to our first Comic-Con.
Oh, for sure. I'm
That's
down.
a great idea.
I'm
And then
totally
we can
down.
we could put it up as
We'll go like vlog style and just show.
Are you bringing
us
the
there.
kids?
no. Just
Probably
me and
not.
Brittany.
I don't think my kids would enjoy it.
No.
My kids wouldn't.
Adeline likes anime. Like I don't.
It's all anime, homie.
Okay, yeah.
Simon might then.
Okay, then maybe we'll bring our kids, but we don't. I don't know if we don't want them on camera. So, but we can. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, the kids don't
But
have to be on
I think
camera.
No, I
that would,
know.
I think it would be fun just me and Brittany because then we would have more freedom. We bring kids, girl.
Yeah,
Come on, we're in mom
Then
mode.
we're in mom mode. It's
Yeah.
There's
true.
no, we're not. You're not going to get Brittany and Des. You're going to get mom.
Mom.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I certainly did. I don't know if I love this film at all, but it's still a decent
What do
film
you
to
guys
watch.
tell us what you think about it?
How much do we suck for saying that this is a 2 and a 2.5? Let us know in the comment section below.
It is what it is.
It is what it
We
is.
can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can handle it.
If you guys did enjoy, if you guys can please do all the things down below, the likes, the subscribes, the follow along, and please share this with friends and family. We need your guys' help in order to grow this channel as well as the podcast. You can find us on all streaming services out there that you can pick up any podcast on as well.
And at dragonswithcrabs.com.
And eventually at dragonswithcrabs.com. That's right. And also don't forget to,
Backhand the notification bell.
just like Dad used to do, and until the next one, see ya.
Bye.
Oh, 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Awesome.
There we go.
Perfect
I found
timing. Yeah.
it.
It's beautiful.
See, I don't know why you guys hired me as your producer because I clearly
This
don't
is
know
why.
what I'm doing.
Because
is
you're
li-
cheap.
This is literally
You don't
why.
get better
Because
than
we
free.
we can teach you exactly what we need, and you will be a freaking pro when this starts making freaking money, and you can be like, yeah, I'm the freaking producer of this
You
show.
get to be the
I
first
get to
employee.
grow with you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that's the whole point.